Good afternoon. This is Brian Carter. I am the district manager for the Highland Park office. I'm also one of the coordinators for TGP events. And today we're going to get a chance to talk to you a little bit more about our specialty knives, which is really an all-encompassing term that we have for any of the knives that do not come in the homemaker set. So you have homemaker knives. You have everything else. We're not going to cover every other knife we make, but we do want to talk about the different categories. And our goal here today, by getting a chance to really help you feel a little more confident talking about, explaining, and showing some of these extra pieces. Now, our goal is twofold. What we're going to get a chance to try to do here by explaining these knives more effectively is number one, with new customers, better we do presenting this information, the more likely they are to going to be interested in sets that come with additional pieces beyond what you're already covering in the demo, i.e., the homemaker knives. So this can set you up to sell more signature and ultimate sets. But the other big win is for Cutco owners, this can actually set you up for more upgrades. Set upgrades are a big part of our business. Guys, there's almost 20 million families out there that own Cutco cutlery. And so the reality is you're going to end up spending a lot of time, whether you realize it or not, with Cutco owners. And so having upgrades in your back pocket is a really powerful tool. So to kind of start things off here, let's define our terms just a little bit. Now, in the CSP world, when you're working with the top people in the company, you rarely will hear them say signature set or ultimate set. Sometimes you hear homemaker, but they pretty much always say it this way: basic set, family set, and complete set. Basic set, family set, and complete set. Now, sometimes when people are new, and this happened to me because, I was a 20-something-year-old bachelor who didn't know how to cook. All right. I was a senior in college when I took the job. And so to me, the homemaker set almost felt like a big set. Now, the homemaker is not a big set. The homemaker is 8 knives and 2 forks. That's all the homemaker set is. It's 8 knives and 2 forks. I really think the homemaker is the minimum amount of pieces for most families. I think most people need more than that. But you could go to anyone's home you ever do a Cutco demo for, any married homeowner, they're going to have some combination of 8 knives and 2 forks. That's the homemaker set. But the problem is, when I was new, the homemaker felt like a big set. And if the homemaker felt like a big set to me, well, what the heck was the signature set? What the heck was the ultimate set? It was like the super duper ridiculous set. And so one of the big mistakes I made early on is I just didn't talk about them as reasonable options. Okay. And that's a mistake that a lot of newer representatives tend to make. They don't talk about these as reasonable options. And so, again, it's not about having to sell people on a complete set or sell them on a family set, but you just want to talk about them as reasonable options. Hey, Mr. Jones, these are some really popular sets that a lot of customers really like. Just so you know your options, let me show you real quick what actually comes in them, or let me show you real quick what those look like. Okay. Just that kind of energy, low key, relaxed, confident. Now, when it comes to the complete set, okay, there's two types of customers I always talk about for the complete set. Number one are going to be the carnivores. I like to call it the carnivore set. All right. And the reasons why are obvious, because it comes with the barbecue knives. Now, if you like to barbecue, grill, or smoke meat like I do, boy, that set sure doesn't make sense. And I live in Texas. Guys, people love to grill. They love to barbecue down here. So when you say the carnivore set with the barbecue knives, a lot of people get really fired up. The other type of customer that I find really loves the complete set are going to be those peace of mind customers. That's what I like to call them, those peace of mind customers. Guys, think about those customers. I bet all of you have a family member, maybe it's an aunt or uncle, and they get that big chest full of Craftsman tools. Okay. And guys, those big old chests, those cost thousands of dollars to fill up, thousands of dollars. And you got to understand, people will spend all that money and they invest all that money, but they're not doing it because they think they're going to use every tool every day. They're just that type of customer that likes that feeling of, if I need it, I know it's there. Okay. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Guys, it's the same reason when my wife has a big closet full of shoes. All right. She just wants to know if I need it, it's there. I have a lot of video games and very little time to play them. I want to know that when I'm in the mood or when I do need it. When I do want it, it's there. Those are the types of customers that tend to go for a complete set. So sure, guys, if you're seeing people that are just affluent, they have a lot of money. If you're seeing some rich customers, great. Sell them 2 ultimate sets. Sell them one for each side of the kitchen. I don't really care. A lot of times they like it because they just want the best, and that's the best. But I will tell you, most of my customers tend to be more of those peace of mind. It's those Craftsman tool type customers really love the complete set. Now, the family set for my team and for our CSP team, guys, that's our best selling set. So I always like to say the complete set, it's the peace of mind set, comes with a version of every knife we make. The family set, that's the best seller here on our team. It's really great because it has all the old school knives plus a few of the modern best sellers, just some of the modern favorites. Okay. But our basic set, hey, those are the old school legacy knives. We made those for 70 years now. So I'm going to start off by showing you those. Okay. So that's almost like the framing that we like to teach on my team. And that's the terminology that we're going to use. Now, there's two categories of knives we're going to talk about. First off are going to be the homemaker pieces, and those are what we call the legacy knives. Okay, so in your notes, write that down. The homemaker pieces are the legacy knives. We've made these for over 70 years now, and they're wonderful. By the way, they're still fantastic. The homemaker knives are great. They still great. They always will be great. Okay. Now, a couple things you got to keep in mind though. Sometimes you'll see a customer that has a homemaker or a galley or whatever Cutco pieces they have, and as good as those knives are, and those knives are fantastic. Okay, every home needs a homemaker. You do have to kind of keep in mind that we did design that set 70 years ago, and people's cooking habits have changed a lot in the last 70 years. I don't know if y'all have ever had this, but every once in a while I would get a customer that sees the butcher knife, and they would kind of joke and go, I don't do a lot of butchering, Brian. Okay, words mean something. That's why on my team we like to call it the barbecue knife. All right, it's a little more friendly sounding and more relatable. But some of the knives in there, like the carving set, is great to have. Everyone should have it. But let's be honest, you're still only using it a couple times a year. And now that doesn't mean it's not worth getting. A couple times a year means, in the next decade, they're going to use it 40, 50 times. That's worth investing a couple bucks in. But at the same time, sometimes people will get something like a homemaker, a galley, and they're not using all the knives all the time. So the idea of getting more knives, of upgrading or considering a bigger set, sometimes that throws them off a little bit. They're like, man, I'm only using 4 or 5 of these knives super regularly anyway. I don't even know that I would need more knives. I don't even use all those extra knives that I have. Okay. So what you have to understand is the framing really makes a difference. The homemaker pieces are the legacy knives. There's nothing wrong with them. They're wonderful, but people's cooking habits have changed a lot. And that's why over the years, we have added on additional pieces. Now, these additional pieces are our customer requested knives. Okay. So in your notes, write that down. All the other knives are customer requested knives. Okay. So there's two buckets you put everything in. Homemaker knives are legacy pieces. Legacy's got a good word, good connotation. Legacy pieces, but you know what? Customer requested does too. Some of the company literature, it'll say specialty knives, and that's why I said at the top of this video, but man, I've never called them a specialty knife. The types of people who are buying a cheese knife aren't specialty customers, they're just customers, okay? So when it comes to the customer requested pieces, guys, all these knives exist for a reason, and I think that is one of the things that some customers fall in this trap. And some new team members fall in this trap where they see the bigger sets and it just feels like, man, it's just more knives for more knives' sake. Okay. And that's not the goal. You know why we make literally all these pieces? It's because customers requested them. Okay. Now, what does that look like? Okay. Let's take, for example, the 4-inch paring knife. The 4-inch paring knife, I love that piece. Customers kept writing in saying, we love our paring knife from the homemaker set, that 2 3/4 inch paring knife. It's a great knife, but there's times it's a little too small. If I'm doing a whole apple, whole pear, whole potato, it won't go all the way through it. And so, man, I wish you guys made a longer paring knife. And y'all, enough people asked that we did it. Okay, so we made that 4-inch paring knife. Similarly, customers kept writing in saying, man, I love our chef knife. That chef knife is really great, but man, that thing is 8, 10 inches long, depending which one they have. Gosh, I just don't always need that blade. Boy, it'd be nice if y'all made an everyday chopper, like a smaller veggie chopper. So we did. Okay, so we make the Santoku knives now. It's that Japanese version of a chef knife. Now, the 7-inch one is the one you see here. For me, I actually like the 5-inch one that comes in the family set. Even when I'm doing upgrades, I like to put the 5-inch one because it's my wife's favorite knife, but having an everyday chopper is really practical. Okay, customers kept writing in saying, man, I really love that trimmer. It's a great knife. I like the length. It's not too long, but there's some jobs where it's just not tough enough. If I'm doing a sweet potato or doing, like a whole chicken or doing some barbecue, like ribs. Man, I wish I made like a more heavy duty utility knife. So we made it. Okay. It's called the Hardy Slicer. And that knife is kind of about the length of the trimmer, but it's much thicker. It's got more weight. And so it'll cut through really tough things, has an easier time. Guys, the barbecue knives, the barbecue cleaver right there. Our meat cleaver has almost a pound of steel in it. It's awesome. You can use it on frozen meats. You can use it to crack open coconuts. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. Flip over the back, tenderize your meats with it. It's just an efficient tool to have in your kitchen. Similarly, over here, the raw meat knife, that boning knife, man, I wish that came in every set we made. Guys, for cooked meats, you want the teeth. Okay, for cooked meats, the teeth are better. But for raw meats, a smooth edge has a much easier time. And so that boning knife, it's almost like a flexible, super sharp, straight edge version of a trimmer. And so when I'm butterflying chicken breasts, when I'm doing the fat cap on a brisket, if I'm doing pork shoulder, butterflying pork chops, anything like that, any kind of my meats, and I don't even mean heavy duty barbecue. If I'm just grilling or cooking things at home, I use that knife all the time. Now I'm going to save the veggie cleaver and the thin slicer because those are really cool. It's easier to explain it when you can see it. But guys, the cheese knife with Cutco owners, that is our number one selling knife we make, and in Cutco events, that's our number one selling knife that we offer. We made the darn thing as a cheese knife. Now it's the most goofy named knife we make because while it is wonderful for cheese, it was our customers who figured out the same thing that makes it good for cheese, make it great for anything moist, sticky, or starchy. Potatoes, apples, pears, cucumbers, tomatoes. It's awesome. Does an amazing job. Now, all that being said, even once you start to understand a little more about these knives, kind of how do you explain it? What should that look like with customers? Well, guys, we've made it super easy for you. Okay, you can write this down in your notes, www.tinyurl.com/Cutco set options. Now, this is a video I put together years ago, and it's meant to just highlight some of the additional pieces that come in the family set, and then even beyond that, some of the pieces that come in the complete set. So I played this video with every single customer, new customers, Cutco owners, and I'll show you where here in just a second. I use this when I'm in the booth working events. I use this video all the time. I originally made it for events, and we got such a great response. I've just been teaching it to my team for years now, and so this is what we use. So let's play it really quick. Now, in my demos, I'll play this right after the names and uses section. So I just went through all the knives that come in the homemaker set, and I'll show you where to plug that in your training manual, but we'll let this play here. So the larger sets include all the items from the basic set. So the two bigger sets have all the knives from the homemaker set, but they're going to come with a couple extra great pieces too, even a couple extra table knives and steak knives. Now it's going to start off by going with the extra pieces in the signature set. First off, you're going to have our traditional cheese knife. That's one for anything moist, sticky, and starchy. The holes keep it from sticking to the blade, and it's got a compressed version of our edge. Check that out. Y'all, when you're doing potatoes, apples, pears, cucumbers, tomatoes, it is like a hot knife through butter. It's the darndest thing. Now, there's the big utility knife. That is like my desert island knife. I don't know if you ever tried to cut a sweet, and that sounds satisfying. I don't know if you ever tried to cut a sweet potato, but they're really dense, and they can be really tricky to cut. That one makes it so much easier. But y'all, if you're not hungry after a Cutco demo, you're doing it wrong. Look at that, just going through the joints on ribs, no problem. Now that one right there is the everyday veggie chopper. That's our 5-inch petite santoku. And I love that knife. That is my wife Miriam's favorite knife we make because she just feels like she has really good control with it. Now, the family set also has the shears. Of course, some people who get a homemaker already got the shears for their first call special, but not everyone. And oh my God, I hate that plastic packaging. The shears are so great for that. Okay. Now, the complete set has all those pieces, plus the barbecue knives, larger fruit and veggie knives, and the bagel knife. Now, it's going to highlight not all, but a couple of those. Those are two of the barbecue knives there, the meat cleaver and the raw meat knife. You see the 4-inch paring knife, the bagel knife, and then those last two. These are fun, okay? Now, the salmon knife, we call our thin slicer. It looks like the bread knife, but it's not. It's a super sharp, super flexible straight edge. So while, yes, it's incredible for salmon and things like that, boy, when I'm doing my watermelon, if I'm doing a cantaloupe, if I'm doing a honeydew melon, it's incredible. It's super flexible. You can bend it right off the board, okay? And just fillet the rind right off. And guys, we talk about it in training, and hopefully you mention it on your demos, but people waste so much money buying their food pre-cut instead of whole. They just need the right tools. The veggie cleaver is another one of the Carter household favorites. When we're doing a butternut squash, spaghetti squash, things like that, you take the end off, and that one is made where you can use 2 hands, and you just rock through it. It's all about leveraging. You don't want to have to force it. If you're ever like forcing your way through something, then that's not the best choice. That's not safe. If it's you versus the food you're cutting, you don't want to do that. So 2 hands, you use leverage and you rock through it. Now, again, y'all, I know what to say about these pieces because I have them. I love them. I'm good at selling them. But even if you don't know what to say, just play the video and comment on what you're seeing. Okay, you will find the link to that tinyurl.com/Cutco set options. Now that's actually going to take you to that video in my Dropbox. And the reason I like that is so you can just download that, save it on your device. You don't need Wi-Fi. You can save it on your phone, save it on your iPad or your laptop, easy breezy. But y'all, I show that video to 100% of my customers, new customers or Cutco owners. Okay. Now, where do I like to plug that in? Well, in my training manual, y'all, your training manual is perfect. It's got 70 years of psychology. The best salespeople use the best scripts, and your training manual is the best scripts. So I'm not ever trying to change it. I'm just adding an extra wrinkle here and there. Now, for me, the place I like to plug it in is right where we're talking about the steak knives. Now, your training manual might be a slightly different iteration. That's fine, guys. Pretty much, it's just the idea of putting it after steak knives is that you just went over the names and uses of the homemaker knives, so that's all fresh. And this is the place where it kind of reintroduces the idea, at least names drops the two bigger sets. We have two larger sets called the Signature and the Complete set, okay? And they do come with those steak knife options, okay? And so I know I put that little tag there. You could also put it right up here, but pretty much once I've said that, that's where I'm going to go, hey, why don't I show you a couple of those extra pieces that come in those two bigger sets? Okay. Or hey, just for fun, let me show you this video that highlights a few of the extra pieces that come in those sets. Okay. And then you just play the video and comment on it. Now, by the way, once I've done that, I go right back into my script. Hey, Mr. Jones, it'd be dangerous to have really sharp knives floating in a drawer. Our sets come with a solid oak wood block, which looks great on your counter. We also have storage trays for storage in a drawer or on a wall. Okay, so again, the whole idea though is you want to make it pretty seamless. You just get to the steak knives. Once you say our two larger sets called the Signature and the Ultimate come with those options, that's usually when I'm going to pop out the video at the Tiny URL website. You can do it after you talk about cutting boards. It's not really that big a deal, guys. But positionally, you want to do it after you've covered the steak knives because that gives you an easy pivot point. Because the family set and the complete set, they have the choice of doing the smaller table knives or the larger steak knives. Now, this I'm going to do the same regardless, whether it's a new customer or a Cutco owner. Okay. But once I get there, then I can kind of pivot. And at this point, you can go into the Signature or the Ultimate close that you've probably learned at an SLDM or a division meeting. If not, we can cover that in a different video. Not a problem. Okay. But even just without changing anything else, just do the Signature and Ultimate close. Guys, by adding this little bit in here, by talking about them a little more confidently, by having just an approach where you're speaking about these consistently and confidently, talking about them as reasonable options, because if you do not sell them, or if you do not show them, you cannot sell them, you're setting the stage for that Signature Ultimate close to be so much more effective. But what if they're a Cutco owner? Okay, well, then we want to go into upgrades. Now, I want to show you all an example of like just a pretty straight line upgrade. Okay, this would be a customer that has a Homemaker +8, and we're going to offer an upgrade to doing the complete set. Okay. And so, guys, the framing on it's really simple. Hey, Mrs. Jones, what's great is a lot of customers like to upgrade up to that dream set that you started, all the way back when you first got your Cutco 5 years ago, 15 years ago, 30 years ago. No one gets all the stuff they want right away because we know Cutco's expensive. But what's great is you get a way better deal when you do this upgrade program. We're going to deduct the value of everything you already have from that set, and we're going to get you a nice savings to just finish it out. Okay. So again, the framing is just really simple. Finish what you started and get you all those custom requested pieces that honestly, Mrs. Jones, you probably use these a lot more than some of the knives you already have in your Homemaker set. That's why it's so great. So guys, what the Ultimate upgrade includes, it's going to be the 9 customer requested pieces. It's going to be the bigger block. It's going to be 4 extra table knives and then the shears as needed. You can always drop the shears, but even if they have the shears, I still like to offer it because guys, everyone needs more than one pair of the shears. I have them in white, black, and red. They're color coded based on what I'm supposed to do with them. All right. Now, if you add all those up, you put them in Cutco orders, the current retail price is $22.29. Now, maybe someone watching this video down the line, the price is different. That's fine. Put all those items in Cutco orders. And by the way, you can save those as a bundle. Not the purpose of my talk right now, but oh, what the heck. I already have these in my cart. Y'all, if I click more, if this is something I'm doing consistently, I can say create new bundle, and I can just write, this is going to be a standard upgrade, okay, or ultimate upgrade, something like that. I can hit create, and then it saves it, and any time I can click bundles and just it'll automatically add those to the cart. bonus tip, not the point of my video here today. All right, but I'm going to add those into the cart, and it makes it nice and easy. The current retail price is $22.92. Now you can use the optimizer to offer discounts to your customers. Okay, and so you can do some different discounts that are available. Really, y'all, you can just sort of use your imagination. Now the optimizer is this button right down here, and I can either have a total target price I'm shooting for, or I can even do a percentage savings. Like if I wanted to say, let's save them 15% or something like that. Now, I wanted to give you an example here of what I think would be a really fair offer to a customer. Could I go lower? Yeah, but I think a really fair offer would look something like this. Hey, Mrs. Jones, you know that upgrade, if you did it through the company, it would go for $22.92. Okay, so it'd be about $2,300. But I tell you what, because I'm working so hard towards this goal, I'm in my fast start, I'm in a push week, I'm competing for a scholarship. I want to really get you an awesome deal. Okay. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and do that today and let me hook you up, I'm gonna get that like $400 off, and we're gonna get that all the way down to $18.97. Okay. Now, the great thing is that would just be $415 a month on that 5 pay on the easy pay, and that's got sales tax and everything calculated in. How great is that, Mrs. Jones? Okay. Now, to get there in this example, what I did is I bonused the 4 table knives and I bonused the 7-inch Santoku. Now, I don't want to get overly technical, but some knives end up working better out for you to bonus than other pieces. So that's why the optimizer is pretty handy. It'll help you not just get there price wise, but get there price wise in the way that keeps your CPO as high as you possibly can. Okay, so that's the deal I have in my cart right now. Guys, if you take a look on here, again, $22.92. And y'all, even though I made a deal, I made him a good deal. I made him a $400 discount. Okay, guys, my CPO is still $1,500, right at that. Man, when you think of the alternative to someone who has a homemaker set, a lot of reps just sell them a cheese knife and a can opener. Okay, if you could be getting some $1,500 sales, guys, that's like selling a homemaker set where you gave them free shears. No one would be unhappy about that. But also, by doing a good job on those pieces, you also set the stage for new customers where maybe instead of a homemaker, they'll consider a signature. Maybe instead of the homemaker, they'll consider a complete set. And that can play a really huge role and a huge part in your success equation early on. Now, a couple last thoughts here, just some concerns or objections that we occasionally hear. The size of the block, guys. Sometimes people say, oh, is that block going to be really big on my countertop? And I always love to reassure them it's really not. In fact, the footprint of that block, it's smaller than my 3-ring binder. Like I can literally set that ultimate block on my 3-ring binder, and there's still a little room to spare there. Okay, so it's not going to take a lot of room in your kitchen. If you can fit a sheet of paper on your countertop, it's about that size, maybe just a hair bigger, but it's not going to take a lot of room at all. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't know if I need 12 table knives. Well, number one, you could always just drop down to a signature upgrade, for example. And that's the beauty of this, guys. You can upgrade from anything to anything. You could upgrade from a kitchenette set to a homemaker. You could upgrade from a galley to an ultimate set. You can upgrade from a homemaker plus 8 to a signature set. You just pop them in Cutco orders, use the optimizer to help figure some discounts. It's the concept of the upgrade. Just the way you talk about it is what makes it real to a customer. Okay. But if someone says, oh, it may be too many table knives for us, I always just like to tell them, Mrs. Jones, I totally get that. That's not a problem at all. I totally understand. But a lot of our customers, what we hear from them is that it's better to have those and not need them than need them and not have them. And sometimes when you have company over, gosh, my wife and I, we need 2 or 20. It's just me and Miriam, or it's my neighbors are over, or the church group, or our work friends, or, my in-laws come over, and all of a sudden there's like 16 people there. And it's like, oh my gosh. And we're using every one. But honestly, for us, half of them are in the dishwasher at any given time. So having the extra ones sure has been handy for us. So again, using third-party stories, here's what a lot of other people say. Here's what a lot of other people do. Here's what a lot of other people think. All of a sudden, sometimes that makes it easier for customers to wrap their head around it. So again, guys, the idea with the upgrade is it's not more knives just to get more knives. The knives are there for a reason. In fact, the reason they're there is because customers ask for them. Customers, just like the person you're seeing. So guys, get all in on it. Get excited about the extra pieces. Set some contests with your managers. Try to learn a little more about them. But if you take nothing else from all this, just show that video. Show that video to every customer. Even if you do it in the wrong place, better to show it than not. And let's go get some upgrades and let's go sell some bigger sets.